we get to see a second look, right? Funny slide. A second look, our first second look at stack 6, right? Um, Isaiah, can I hear you? Oh, it looks like you're muted, bud.
Yeah. How's that?
There we go.
Hey, everybody.
Wait.
Can
Oh,
everybody hear
I
me
see you
okay?
shaved
And
for the event and everything. Nice.
what's that?
Look, you shaved for the event and everything. Look at that.
I clean up, try to look nice for you, Joe. Um, uh, yeah, last year, I did a demo of Stacks, and I mean, it went pretty well, but it was a lot of talking and slides and not much demo. And then I did a second talk where it was just talking. So this year I'm going to try to do mostly demo and just a little bit of slides. Um, so yeah, let's get to it. So it's been about a year since most people have seen an update of Stacks. I keep a small group of people appraised of the situation, but yeah, I've been keeping it close to my chest for a while. So um, I'm going to share some stuff that is like just on the edge of functional, some stuff that's really rock solid. And then I'm going to give you guys a demo that you can play with too, but not today because I discovered a really bad bug. And so I'm probably going to put it off at least 24 hours, but hopefully this weekend. I think it's an easy bug to fix, but I just didn't want to release it while heading into a presentation. So, but we are going to use that version here, so we'll see it. So what's today going to be about? Let's see. We're going to start with a quick demo, and we're going to do this kind of in layers. The demo first, we're just going to compare and contrast this year with last year. And then I'm going to kind of peel back a layer, and we're going to look at a few new pieces of user interface. And this is mostly some basic stuff, but it's brand new stuff. So we're going to talk about the Open Quickly interface, the new link window, which kind of uses the Open Quickly interface, about deploy, so FTP, and about the project window. So yeah, that's just some new user interface that's fun to see. I guess FTP is really a totally new feature that is more than just surface level. And then going to peel back one more layer, and we're going to look at loading the Stacks library. And I have to admit, I just changed this. I had a totally separate third thing planned for a couple of weeks, and I ripped it out like 2 days ago. So this could go really well or really badly, but I think it's going to go really well. I'm optimistic. I'm going to talk about the progress that we've made on loading the Stacks library because, yeah, it's traditionally been pretty slow, and I make people wait. And there are good reasons for that, but I knew we could do better. And so last year, I got to the conference and I said, hey, I've worked all this time on the loading Stacks interface, and it's so much better. And then I heard somebody say, yeah, it's about the same. And I was so disappointed that I hadn't, really made real progress, that when people put it actually to the test, they couldn't even tell. And that was, yeah, I felt embarrassed for myself that I had done that. So this year, we're going to do better, I promise. All right. So without further ado, let's take a look at just a surface level demo. So yeah, we're going to review and compare last year with this year. So let me see if I can undo this And, oh yeah, I should have done that. Well, zoom that and play that. And we'll just zoom over here. Here? No. Here. Here we go. All right. So,
You turned off your screen share.
oh, really? Did it?
Yes.
Oh, because I switched desktops, huh? Is it back or is it just totally gone?
No, it's totally gone. You have to hit the share again.
Great. All right. Well, we'll do it on the screen then. Give me a sec. Share. One. None of these look right. How about this one?
I think before you were sharing just your Keynote, and when you close Keynote, it stopped the share, I think.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this will be better then. We'll have to see. I kind of have a feeling it's like only sharing, and I'm switching
I see.
desktop. But we'll try this. I need to get this out of the way. So here are the two versions of stacks that I'm going to kind of look at and compare. This one is from just a few days ago, and this one is from last year. So we'll hide that one for a sec, and let's just take a look at where we were last year. So I think the first thing to notice about last year's is that a lot of the tools at the top here in this tabbed interface have changed a little and progressed a lot. So one bit of feedback I got from a handful of users at least was that whenever you selected a different thing, so I'll select over here, but watch over here, it kind of jumps around. And if I select a page, it jumps to a new set of tabs. I did that because that is the way Xcode works. And I was used to it, and it's moderately understandable. I mean, it is kind of complex, but it's pro app, you know. But I got a lot of feedback that was kind of weird and disconcerting, and they didn't know what was going on all the time. So I took a step back and I looked at what the common pieces of the common possible tabs there were, and tried to fit things into a framework where it doesn't have to jump around anymore. So let's take a look at this here. So this guy, if I select different items, you'll notice it stays in the same tab no matter what. So if I select a stack or a page or a library item, it's never jumping around over here. If there's nothing to show, you get nothing, but at least it's not kind of confusingly bouncing around. I think there's still room, perhaps someday, to make some of the items maybe come and go or disable when necessary. But I think for a first version, to let people get used to the idea, keeping the tab stable is just a good thing. What else is new? Let's take a look at this new version. We've got a few things that came back. The library groups are back. We have stack updating is back. We have deploy and deploy settings button. The site settings are back. And now there are, both site settings and settings for the app itself. So, some things you want to change in every project, some things you want to be stable over the whole app's lifetime. So we have both now. We have a new tab just for library items that shows details about the library item that's selected. If you do things like double click on a library item, even if something else is selected, it will jump to that item. So there's some nice little shorthands and shortcuts. We have a theme column to the library now that looks a bit different and shows the site theme that's selected. And there's a lot of other little details. For instance, if you have a theme that has a lot of settings, you'll see those over here. And you can then modify those settings by override in the page column. So there's just a lot more. Whereas last year, there were a few things that were just disabled. I was like, that's not stable enough to show everybody. So I'm just going to disable the button and move on. So a lot more is filled out. In fact, there's only a few things that are, grayed out anymore. All right. So that is just like a quick overview to check out on the surface level what has changed. But let's, peel back an onion layer and go to the next level of detail. So, okay, here I'm going to switch desktops and see if I can go back to Keynote. Did I lose my sharing?
Nope, you're good.
Hey, we rock. All right. So I'm going to put this on my other screen and hit the play button here. Play? Why not play? What's going on? Escape?
Is it already open somewhere else? Is it full screen somewhere?
It shouldn't be. No, it's like it's locked up.
Because Keynote looks grayed out. Oh, there it went.
Did I lose my sharing?
No, you're still there.
I'm just going to open it up again. Because, oh, wow. I hope it didn't delete my presentation. That would really bite. State of the Stacks 2025. All right. I think we're good. Sorry for the mix-up. I only do this presentation stuff once a year, so I have to relearn how to do it every year. Okay. So what's new? Let's talk about just a few more things. Open quickly, the link window, deployment, and the new project window. But I wanted to mention, just while we're here, that there were a lot of other little bug fixes. This is not all that we worked on for a whole year. And I went back to my change list and I just kind of copied into a few slides so you could see. We had a bunch of fixes and then we had a bunch more and then we had more and then we had more. And then I got tired of making these slides. So that only goes back to version 20. 10 was the last public version. So that's 2/3. There were a lot of bug fixes. That's all I have to say. And a bunch of new little features. Some are small, some are huge. But there's a lot in there, and the app is becoming much more real, not so beta anymore. Okay, so let's actually do the demo here. I'm going to switch back, and we're going to hope for the best. I'm going to minimize that. Right. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is open quickly. So in a lot of pro apps that have, project-based stuff where there's a zillion things to click on in your project, oftentimes, digging through those things can be really kind of cumbersome to go look for something. And you might even get so many pages in your project and layouts in your project or whatever that you don't even remember where you put something. You know it's in there somewhere. Maybe you remember the name of it or something that's associated with the page, and you just want to go find it. So now we can choose. You can either choose it from the file menu, which is open quickly. It's right here, or you can do Command Shift O, which is the same as the shortcut in, I think, OmniGraffle has it, or OmniNote. One of the Omni apps has it, and Xcode has it. A bunch of apps have it. Anyway, Command Shift O, you get a little Sherlock spotlight like window, and you just start typing. So I noticed that there was a page in there called page 6. So if I just type 6, that's what comes up. You know, as I'm typing, it is showing me the things that are applicative there. So I type 6, it jumps to 6, and I'm good to go. It becomes such second nature using this feature that I barely even use the sidebar anymore. And if you're on a small screen, I work on a MacBook Air a lot. I've grown to really love my MacBook Air. The screen is small. So, you know, you can get rid of the sidebar and just, you know, open whatever page you need to and jump to that page. No big deal. I noticed also that there was a page in there called page 5, so I can jump to that. Let's Shift O, 5, boom. In here, I'm going to change the folder name to, I don't know, how about 42, since everything is named with numbers. And now if I go back to my homepage, say, and I do Command Shift O, I can type 42, and it knows that too. So there's more context built in to the pages, and it's indexing all of that content when you open this window. So now we can jump right to that page. So you don't even necessarily have to remember, that it was the actual page name. Other things that are associated with the page are also indexed. I noticed we're using version 33 here. I need 35 to show you the next feature. So I'm going to, I'm just going to
I see that is 35. No? Oh,
is it? Did I just
in the top in edit mode it says 35?
Oh, thanks, Joe. The document is called 33, and that threw me off. I made one document for this demo, and it was for version 33. I've since built version 34 and 35, and 35 has the bug fix in it. So it's for the link window. So let's look at the link window. I have a button here. Everybody's familiar with buttons. And yeah, so I'm going to select the button, and then, which looks really weird for some reason. I have turned off it's probably because I'm on a weird, okay. Themes can apply styles to edit mode. This is my reason variant that I'm going to use as a demo in tomorrow's talk about developing themes. Okay, so select the button. Let's take a look at the settings for this button, and let's check this edit link here. In fact, let's start with a clean button because that one already had a link in it. Boom. All right, clean button, no link. I click edit link. So this is a lot like the Open Quickly interface. I noticed one of the things that I have always felt is cumbersome in like every web development tool I've used, is that whenever you want to make an internal link to inside the document to another page or to an asset or whatever, you have to go hunt for it in a big list or a big menu, and it's always a pain. And hey, why not use the Open Quickly interface to go find what you need for links? So I can do that same thing here. I can link to page 6 and lock it in. And it shows me details about it here. So it's a little bit different than Open Quickly because it doesn't immediately like lock in. There's more detail to links. So yeah, it links to page 6. But if you need to edit properties, you can also do that. Okay. Then we hit link and we get a link. So yay, link. It also works for just any link you want to link to out on the internet. So instead of typing a word that's associated with your document, you just type the link. So let's try. It has a lot of built-in links. Like if I just start typing Apple, it'll link to Apple. But let's link to something more interesting. So let's go to let's go to my website, but I'm going to go to the Stacks page itself. Okay, so I lock that in, and it shows me the link of where it's going to go. It's going to go to Stacks, and I hit link, and boom, I have a link. Nothing surprising there, really. It's actually pretty trivial. I mean, that's the whole point, is I wanted to make building a link as like seamless and simple as possible, because it seemed overly complicated in other languages and other platforms. So, but I want to do one more thing. Let's go over to page 6 where I put the link, send the link, and I'm going to put a button in here, and I'm going to click edit link. And now when I made the link to Stacks before, to the Stacks page before, I had to type in the whole thing. But now I'm just going to type in something that's part of that link. So I'm just going to type in Stacks. And it knows that that link is somewhere else in the project. And it's already indexed it and added it to the open or the link quickly menu. And I can just lock it in. And now those two links are the same. Even if you set interesting properties on that other link, you'll get them here too. You don't have to have them here, but they come for free. So again, I'm just looking to reduce the amount of work necessary to do some of the basics. I was already having to build a link window because that's in the plugin, something that I rely on RapidWeaver for. So here I had to build it. I just decided, let's make it better. Right, so that is, oh man, I'm already running out of time. So I need to move a little bit quickly.
Remember,
here.
We started late too, so don't worry about it.
Okay, well, I still try to stick to about an hour. But if I need to run a little bit longer on the last demo, I can. What am I, deploy. Yeah. So, hey, let's check out FTP just quick. Well, we can breeze through this one. I mean, you know how FTP works. So I got to deploy settings oh no, this file doesn't have the stuff. Do I have, and I don't have that stack either, damn it. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to type in my password in front of you guys. Do I have the other project somewhere? It might be in this one. Yeah, that has that in it. I think it probably does. Nice. Okay. better. So yeah, it's FTP. In fact, it's SFTP. I made the kind of command decision that for this version, we're supporting one type of FTP, and it's only the secure one. If your hosting company doesn't support secure FTP, you need a new hosting company. That's just all there is to it. um, there is also FTPS. FTPS is also sort of secure. The commands aren't sent over UDP anymore, and password isn't in the clear. Those are all good things, but it's kind of quirky, and it's much slower than SFTP. SFTP is just built on the standard secure shell. So it uses the same port as the secure shell, not the FTP traditional port. And most hosting companies support it, 99%, honestly, at this point. And I do have the power to bring back old FTP if it's like really essential for something, but I really don't think we should. I think it's a disservice. Excuse me. My mouth is getting too dry. I think it's a disservice to users to present them with something that is known to be insecure. At this point, with the internet the way it is, yeah, we got to get away from the old crap, frankly. So we're doing SFTP. We also can do maybe in the future, so version 7, say, we can do SCP. That allows us to like bundle everything up in a zip file, SCP1 file. SCP is secure copy, to the host, and then unzip it on the host. That's much faster, actually, but it only works for higher end hosts like VPSs, and you have to have shell access. And I know that's probably fine for some users, especially for the pros that are building sites for other people. But it might be, yeah, it's just a bit advanced. So I'm keeping it simple for this one. So let's check out how it works. Yeah, it's FTP. You put in your host name. I use my IP address. You give it a folder where you want the stuff to go. Your username and password, and then I got a nice little validate button. This I stole the idea right from Panic Nova, because I always like that they have a nice validate interface, because it's always a pain. Anyway, so you hit validate, and you get a check mark if you did everything right. But if you didn't, let's just see what happens. So I'm going to delete the last R off my path name. And so now, even if the username and password is acceptable, some part of this setup is not going to work, and it's going to break all of your FTP. So we'll hit the validate again. And this time, it comes up with pops up a mini log immediately, and it says, you failed something. So you check. Down at the very end, it says the path was not a readable directory. So it's not a real directory, and it's not going to work. So just, add the R back, hit validate, and hopefully it'll work again. I think I might have just crashed things. Yeah. Sorry about that. It happens. Let's kill this guy. Force quit. And we'll just quit that one too while we're here. And I think I have a window here. I can just open that one. All right. Let's try again, shall we? We'll hit validate. Good. Will cause a problem. Validate, bad. try again, fix problem, validate. Good. Hey, it works. Sorry, crashes happen. It's nature of the beast when you're working with beta software. It gives me a chance to talk about. So since last year, I've added a crash reporter built in. So if the app does crash, I get immediate feedback through Sentry. And Sentry is a lot of people are using it now. It's kind of the best crash reporter going today for Mac apps. And yeah, some of the nice things about it, it's very standardized. They take care of security and stuff. So when you have a crash report, there's the potential that like your IP address could be in the crash report. They make sure to get rid of that kind of information. So I never see that stuff. I don't know who crashed it or why. Maybe someday we'll add like a feedback part of it too. I haven't done that part, but for now, I don't have to beg for people to send me crash reports anymore, which is kind of awesome. Because I did have to back in the plugin days. So I just want to mention too, when you see the check mark, you can click there and still see the same log again, and you can see that it all works too, just in case. We'll say okay, since we twiddled with things. And then you can hit the deploy button over here. You get a little deploy window. We're keeping it pretty simple in this version. We'll hit deploy. It's going to validate again, just to make sure before it starts trying to publish and copy and all that stuff. So you'll see the validation happen. It'll export the site. This site is really trivial, so it exports pretty fast. And then it's going to update the file. I'm not including in this version the comparison and partial upload. So it's just uploading everything, which I know is kind of a drag. For a big site, it really does take a while. But that's something I've been working on just recently, so won't be long. All right, that's deploy. 7 minutes. I have 7 minutes to cover 2 whole topics, one of which was supposed to be like 20 minutes long. So I'm going to go over a little bit. I'm really sorry to the people that are in Europe. I hope I'm making it worth your while. All right. We can do this last one really fast. So if you close all the windows, or if you don't have a project open, or if you have the macOS setting where it doesn't open your last open file, this is what you see. Boom, boom. You get a nice little project window. And I want to give a shout out to Dubox, Gary from Dubox, who designed this for me in SwiftUI and sent me, it was like fully functional, basically. He's a SwiftUI master. So I can't use the SwiftUI version, unfortunately, because that would constrain us to just Sonoma and Sierra macOS versions. And I do want to support back to Big Sur at least, and maybe even 1 or 2 versions after that, before that. So that means I can only use just like the most basic SwiftUI stuff. So even something as simple as this is not possible, unfortunately. Because SwiftUI is kind of fun. It's also kind of slow, but whatever. So it's a project window. You know how they work. You probably have seen them in a zillion different project-based apps. You can select something, you press return, and it opens the file. That's it. If you don't have a file open, it auto opens this window. And if you launch the app, it did it on this screen. It will pop open the window automatically. So, you can see your recent documents, or you can open a new document or create a document in one kind of easy step. That's it. So we're going to move on from there. And yeah, I think we're done with that bit, and we can. Can I? Boom. Hey, let's talk about performance. So loading the stack library, that's been a drag, right? And like I said, last year at the conference, I think offhand mentioned that I had improved the performance, and I thought substantially. Turns out not so much. After that, I started doing some real performance measurements on it, and yeah, it's ugly. I mean, it's hard. It's a hard problem, especially for larger stacks libraries. So yeah, so I came out. Beta 10 was a few versions after last year's conference, but it was still a public version. And I added in there that it would cache some of the information about your stacks library into a separate data object that it could store in a nice place. And then it could load that up very quickly so you could see your stacks library immediately. Unfortunately, it didn't actually work deeply because a lot of stacks are encrypted. A lot of them have lots of templates, and before you can actually use things, templates need to be compiled, and data needs to be decrypted. Those things take time. So, the pro is that it felt immediate, like it just showed you your stacks library, bam. The downside is the caching information was just incomplete. And so even though you saw the stacks, if you tried to use them, it just wasn't going to work until the stacks library loaded. Furthermore, I had gotten rid of the loading user interface. And so it was just very confusing. It was not a good version. So I'm going to fast forward. There were a lot of private versions between 10 and 20, but yeah, fast forward, I think almost 8 months. And this one, it does the loading actually in the background. It shows you edit mode immediately. And it does this by knowing what stacks are going to be displayed in edit mode and loading those first. The bonus was that you could start working immediately. The downside is that there were still stacks loading in over time. And doing it this way, giving priority to the edit mode and loading things in the background, actually slowed down the loading. So in my demo here, it went from about 13 seconds to load a huge library to about 20 seconds. So, I mean, it didn't just get a little bit slower, it got a lot slower. Now, most of the time, you're editing the stacks that are already on your page. That worked pretty well, but if you needed to interact with other stacks, they were still slowly chunking in. So that was not great. But doing it in the background seemed like the right thing to do. So I've pushed forward through this. So beta 30, this is maybe a month ago. It made one change to this, which was to begin loading on launch. So if you opened up stacks and didn't have a project open, it was still loading in the background. And so sometimes if you're fumbling around finding where the file that you're going to open, by the time you get things open, if your stack library isn't gargantuan, it'll already be done. And you can just get to work, that's pretty nice, super fast. But there's a downside. And the downside is that if you happen to immediately open a project, then it loads your stacks first. If you load the whole library and then open your project, then it's already done and you get to work. But if you do anything in between, and it just so happened one of my beta testers was doing things in between that way, basically every time, it meant that the stacks that were in front of you on the page would just like grayed out. And so there's a race condition between when you opened your file versus when the library started to load. So back to the drawing board, right? So yeah, over the past, I don't know, 2 weeks, if you've been following me on Mastodon, I've been posting about this because, I discovered two huge things. Good enough that I threw away my last item on this demo so that I could show you this stuff in detail. And one is that the new version of the security library that came along with my FTP library allows for parallel decryption, which was not an available thing in the past. So suddenly we went from being able to do one decryption and load at a time. It depended on how many stacks you had in your library that were encrypted. But if you have a lot of Joe Workman stacks, they're pretty much all encrypted. So that's slowed down. It was like a really huge bottleneck. Opening that wide open, it just changes the game fundamentally. But then secondly, I found another detail. It was very frustrating because I was loading, I was running testing things in Xcode, and I realized that my Xcode builds were faster than my published builds, which is a real head scratcher. Things working inside of a debugger, inside of Xcode, are fundamentally slower. And that's not even when they're just slower. So having it be substantially faster enough that you could notice it, was a head scratcher. And I dug down and did, a while of performance tuning on it. And I eventually found the one little quirk where in debug mode only, I was verifying my security key once. In the release builds, I verify it on every stack, which is useless. There's no reason. It's the same key. I was doing it every 200 milliseconds. I think it would stay the same. There's not any security risk there. Anyway, so I added these two things. One, running on 10 threads, you don't really get 10 times the performance, but you get something pretty close. And then, I bought another 50% by not running that security verification over and over and over again. By the way, that's not security verification on the encryption or on the validity of the stack. It's just running checks on my own security key. Which is good. You should run it at least once, but doing it over and over again in a short period of time is just pointless. So it doesn't hurt anything. And it buys us a huge amount. So we reduce the number of things that you have to do before you get to work. So that's by doing things in the background. Then we got like let's say between 5 and 10-fold performance boost. And then another 50% on top of that. And these things are multiplicative. So we went from loading in 13 seconds to 20 seconds and then back to you'll see. It's just crazy fast. It's embarrassingly fast because a month ago it really wasn't. And it's amazing that two very basic, one is a new feature, a new library, a new version, and another is this bug that I found. By doing those two things, we really get this, vast change. So, here are the times that I just recorded, and I'm going to show you these demos. So we started off back in the Stacks plugin. It was about 13 seconds to load Joe's library. So I actually have a library that's about twice this big. It's over 4,000 stacks. And these are individual stacks. So like when you have Foundation, it's like 100 or something stacks. Joe can tell you what the number is, but it's a lot of stacks. And I'm saying how many individual items there are. So for this library, 2,631 stacks, 13 seconds in the plugin. Beta 10 from last year, it was really hard to tell because it loads and shows you the stacks immediately, but I know that they're not actually useful. If you try to actually use them, they show up as this stack is not installed because they haven't loaded yet. So I just put question marks here, but the reality is that it's probably pretty close to the 13 seconds number, maybe a hair faster. Then we jump up to beta 24, and that's when we're doing it in the background. And I've added a couple more things to make it a little bit faster, trying to squeeze the blood from the stone a little bit more. And so, I got it better to 20 seconds. Unfortunately, if you load your project file after it starts loading the library, edit mode doesn't even become functional for another 20 seconds. So I thought I had been doing, it was again, you make measurements, you make some assumptions about how it's going to work. And in the end, when you actually use it on somebody else's project and somebody else's library, not as great. Version 33, I got the edit mode a little bit better, and I was loading that in advance. So we got it down to like 5 or 10 seconds before edit mode became usable, even if you were loading your project file after. And I felt pretty proud about that. But that's when I noticed this quirk about, running in Xcode being faster. And along the way, I did some reading and testing on how many threads I could run decryption on. So both of those things happen between version 33 and version 35 that I'm showing you today. Beta 33 was only like last week. So this is really brand new. This is the cutting edge, but it's so great that I have to show you. So version 35, how fast is it? Edit mode is fundamentally instantaneous, even on a library that's 2,600, even on ancient hardware. So Joe has a 2016 Intel-based laptop. They were kind of dogs even when they came out. um, frankly, uh, Apple's hardware team has really been kicking butt since the M1, and machines are so much faster now. So even on that Intel machine, we could only ever see the progress bar flash for a moment before it disappeared. 100% loaded. Well, on this machine, it's about 2 seconds, and that's worst case scenario. So without further ado, let's go check it out. Right, I have to get rid of this thing. It's in my way. Can I put it over there? Yes. That was a zoom toolbar. I know you guys can't see that. All right, so I'm going to start with the oldest one first. Yeah, I don't normally demo the plugin much anymore these days. Kind of left those guys behind. I mean, not my customers, but I don't do much rapid revert. Although I do have did a beta like 2 weeks ago, so I guess I am. Yeah, let's do it. Here we go. I want this version. I like this version. All right, so here's Joe's library. Look at it go. Wow, it's slow. And I know everyone who's here probably knows all about that. So I just want to say I apologize. It's going to get better. There are reasons that I couldn't have done the things that I'm going to show you today. The largest part being the multi-threaded decryption, which is just not possible in the plugin, unfortunately. But yeah, well, that's enough of that. We don't need to look at that app anymore. And I have somewhere, what is that? No, go away. Don't want to see Xcode. I want that. Okay. So here we have a few versions, and I'm going to start with beta 10. That's last year's beta, and I'm going to drag this file on there so it opens. And that shows you the worst case scenario, which is, hey, look, all the stacks are loaded. They're really not. That's the problem. And if you have a giant library and you're using a lot of those stacks that are loading later in that library load, you're going to see this sort of thing. And then you click on it and it goes, oh, wait, maybe I do have that. And everything that you touch, it just gets weirder. If you move something around, like if we move this up here, it's gonna, whoa, I have everything. Amazing. So yeah, it was a failed experiment. I thought pre-caching the stuff would be a great win, but there's only so much that you can cache. If I cache all of the library, then really it's just slow to load again. So that's when I decided to kind of try to prioritize things a little bit. So yeah, let's see how that looks. Close that. And this time we're going to load this guy into this version. All right, so you can see down here, oops, turn that off. Doc, go away, there. You can see it has a library loading and it's happening in the background. And if you watch here, it's populating your library. It's actually changing on the fly. But because it's doing all that work in the background, it actually slows it down a little bit. Because yeah, edit mode and the interactive stuff on your window, that will always get priority over other threads. I mean, you can invert that, but that's worse. You want to give priority to the things that are interactive. But if you noticed, if I did it that way, my page pretty much loads immediately, but it's variable. Depending on how you use it and how you open the file and where it is in the loading process, it's going to be either usable or not usable. Or yeah, let's see if I can make it happen. No, it's going to work again. Yeah, I think it's better actually in the next one. So let's close that. Yeah, I'll just open this one like this. So you can see this one, yeah, it's not going to load these stacks until the library is finished loading. So it's behaving a lot like the other one. It's kind of in between. So you could still interact with it, but you couldn't actually like change the settings on the stacks until the whole library loaded. And yeah, I could have rewritten that, and that was my plan. But then I discovered these other benefits, these other improvements, and yeah, I decided to go with that instead. So yeah, let's just I'm going to drop this right on here. See how it goes. It's done. That's it. Whole library is loaded. Yeah. Again, I apologize for the status quo because I wish I could have brought that to you guys 5 years ago. Of course, I couldn't. I needed my own app to do most of it, but yeah, it's pretty phenomenal change. And it's not like I'm faking it. That's not a cache. That's not loading some first and some second. It is actually doing that, but doesn't need to really. It's actually loading the entire library there. And my machine that I'm showing this to you on is an M1 MacBook Air. So it's a 4-year-old, the lowest performance in the line. It is an M1, which made it a lot faster than the Intel machines. But actually, my last Intel machine, which I barely use anymore, is, yeah, about 50% faster than my M1 MacBook Air. So this is what I'm saying is this isn't the fastest machine. If you've bought a Mac in the past 2 or 3 years, it's going to be even faster than this. And more than likely, you don't have Joe's gargantuan library unless you're Joe or Bill or Mateus, or there's like a handful of guys that have like every stack. And I mean, God bless you. Thank you. You make the platform what it is, but there's only a handful of people that have that many stacks and put them all in their library. Because yeah, there's some old janky stacks in there that you might not use anymore. Anyway, what are we at? 620. I think I ought to call it. That's enough of that. So yeah, let me just do that one more time. I want to do that one more time because it's that good. Come on. Look. Boom. It's done. That's it. It's like 2 seconds. You can hardly even see like one update of the progress bar. It's insane. It's insane. On my own personal stacks library that only has about 100 or 200 stacks in it, I mean, above and beyond the 40 that are in the built-in set, you never see a progress bar. It just, like, it goes loading, done. It doesn't update at all. It doesn't have time to. Yeah, it waits 200 milliseconds before it does the first update of the progress bar, and the progress bar takes another 10 milliseconds before it actually draws to the screen. So a lot of times in that 220 milliseconds, there's already another thread coming along and saying, yeah, hide the progress bar. You're done. We're done here. And believe it or not, when it does that, it's done even more steps in the progress than any of the other versions that I've shown you. So I'm not faking it in any way. This is the full load, no caching, the real deal. So I think you're going to like it. That's all I'm saying. All right. I call it quits there. I'm doing a talk tomorrow on themes. That one's going to be really technical. So bring your thinking cap and we're going to build a theme together, or we're going to convert a theme. I'm not going to build one from scratch. That would be kind of insane. But I mean, you could do a simple one, I guess. But Joe has lent me his Reason Pro theme from the other guys' platform, and yeah, I want to show how the theme API is designed specifically to convert themes from lots of different platforms. Rapid Weaver, yes, sure. But also things like Bootstrap or WordPress. Not so much WordPress, their theming is pretty quirky. But yeah, a lot of the newer themes for React and whatnot, Vue and all those newfangled web development platforms, a lot of them have pretty simple templating. And we designed the theme API to be highly flexible so that you can oftentimes pull in a bunch of those templates, not change anything, and then just add the stacks parts. So that's what we're going to show tomorrow. I'm going to let it go from there. If anybody has any questions on what I showed you today or anything really, let me know. Joe?
Sweet. I answered a bunch of questions live. There was a couple there, some simple ones that I answered, like, can we export locally? So if we want to FTP via transmit, obviously, yeah, there's an export button on the toolbar.
Export the toolbar, there's a command key. You can do the old command P and it'll export here. Yeah, I have garbage stacks on the screen. Sorry. It's not a great site. But yeah, export locally. There's a built-in PHP server that, yeah, can do PHP and all that fancy jazz locally. You can preview in the browser. You can preview in the app. And you can publish to a site. So, and export to your disk. Yes.
Sweet.
We're only supporting one export location and one FTP location in this first build. That will obviously change. We're trying to get something functional before we build up, but that's an easy change. It's just faster to get to the end if I only do one for this time. Anything else?
People saying, sweet, now they can have 10,000 stacks installed and still not have worried about.
Really? I mean, I think Mateus sent me his stack library a few years ago, and
I think he has the biggest in the community.
Yeah, exactly. And I measured it earlier today. It might still be on my screen. 4,727 stacks plus 9 dev stacks. That's Mateus's, and I haven't tested that, but that's about twice as big. And I suspect it'll still load in 5 or 10 seconds. I don't think it'd be a big deal.
Yep.
If you want to watch,
pretty amazing.
I can do it.
Score. Well, that was it. Just a lot of people loving the performance and all the other cool stuff. People can't wait to get their hands on it. So
yeah, I'll get it built out as soon as I can. Yeah, there's a couple things. I've mangled a lot of the theme stuff for the theme demo I'm going to do tomorrow. So like you notice, I was just using the blank theme in this demo, and I haven't even touched preview other than that preview. Oh, you guys can't see that because that's on the other screen. Anyway, yeah, my themes are a little bit messed up, and my that link, the link box has two problems. One, a bad crasher that's easy to bump into, and two, yeah, it wasn't indexing other pages. Oh, it wasn't if you like typed in a link to an offsite page and you just hit return, it would just like cancel. So vaporize your links, which I thought is just, that's crappy and is a trivial fix. So I fixed it like last night, and yeah, whenever you do a demo, you discover so many bugs. It's just the nature of the beast. Anything else?
One is, are we going to see from now on kind of more open public betas? What's the plan there? That question came through anonymously.
It's from Joe. Right?
It was not.
Joe. Yes, more, but that's not a high bar to cross when you haven't been doing any demos. So definitely there will be more for theme developers. That's been my biggest holdup. That I've been working on the theme API, and as soon as you release an API, it's written in stone, you know? Because if somebody builds something on top of that, I have to support that forevermore. And so there's a few things, especially in the layouts themes, that I wanted to get right before I started publishing regular updates. There are other reasons too, but I don't want to talk about negativity.
Do you have, obviously you can't give an exact, okay, but like, do you have an idea of a launch date? It was a question it was asked.
Yeah,
I gotta ask it.
No, every time I try to give a schedule, I disappoint 10 people at least, and more than that if I do it in a public forum like this. So I'm gonna say no, I don't have an idea. Right. I do have an idea, but I'm just not gonna be public with it. I do feel like we're getting closer to the end, but there's still work to do.
Yep. So you said potentially a beta, hopefully tomorrow. You want
this weekend. I mean, obviously, I'm giving a talk tomorrow too, and
okay.
It's lots more technical, and I'd like a few hours to practice. And I did most of the demo work for that in the past week, and yeah, I haven't practiced a lot, so we'll be winging it a little bit tomorrow.
I'll give a little PSA to everybody. You know, once you get this, feel free. You know, we don't want to bombard Isaiah. Isaiah probably is going to rebuke this and say, no, everyone come to me, because, you know, he's going to feel responsible to help everybody out. Hey, I'll take the brunt of the hit. You come to me, and I will gladly help you out as much as I can. And you know, be the front man. So our godfather Isaiah here can finish this and get it out to the world as soon as possible. I do already have a Stacks beta space set up on my community. So for those that have access, it is open to the public. It's not. So if you want to join that Stacks beta and you have it, you can go there, maybe, you know, talk it up there. And I'll be glad to help you out with anything that I am aware of.
Yeah, just not aware of everything, obviously.
Yes.
But he does bombard me with questions all the time. And
It's all love. It's love. I promise.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, he knows a lot of details, and has, yeah, obviously seen more behaviors, more. I mean, there was a gap in there of quite substantial, and Joe was very patient. Not okay, no, he wasn't very patient, but he was patient, a little patient, kind of patient.
I had my patient days. You okay?
But he keeps me going, everyday encouragement. And even if I don't always respond to his texts, it's good to have that encouragement. Even
And
if
Amazon doesn't let me buy ibuprofen for him anymore.
yeah, I wanted a moment to mention about my health because it was a big deal. And last year I gave a whole talk about um, where I was in recovery. And to be honest, it's been 18 months now since I hurt myself on a skateboard. And I can see now in retrospect that I lost a lot of time. I mean, there were months that I didn't do much of anything. And even by last year's demo, I had only been working like full-time days and just barely full-time days for a couple of months. Um, Everything before that, I was doing, voice to text, and boy, that no way to program. You know, yeah, you can't get much done that way. So I mean, I worked on other things.
You're no Stephen Hawking, you know?
Well, I mean, I could do it like that. I actually saw Stephen Hawking talk once. I was fortunate enough. My dad knew that he was going to be a thing and took me when I was very young. And he took questions and answers at the end, but it took like 2 hours. And every question, somebody would ask it, and then he would pick one to answer. And, he'd type it out with basically could move his neck a little bit, and that's how he talked. But I stayed for the whole thing.
Very cool. Very cool.
Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for being patient with me. I know not everybody's patient, but for those of you who are, it's really appreciated. I am working on this, 10 to 15 hours a day, every day. I don't really take days off. And I've been doing it for a few years now. So we'll get there. I don't think we're that far anymore. I hope we're not that far anymore because I'm tired.
I was thinking recently, it's, I know it's easy to think of, Stacks as this app as being like a 1.0 app. Let's just get at what we need out. But we can't do that, right? Because
that's the big problem.
This is we need to go from 0 to a mature 15-year-old app, because that's what we need to continue going forward. You know what I mean? And and that's not a simple thing.
That has turned out, I mean, it's been the biggest discovery is realizing that the app can't just be like a superficial thing. It has to be deep and support compatibility with the full Stacks API, which means recreating some things that Stacks, the plugin, leaned on RapidWeaver for years. And although I became less dependent on those things over time, there's still some pretty significant things. And then developing a theming API on top of that, I didn't really realize, honestly, at the beginning, that it would be first kind of a challenge, but then also along the way, I would discover, like somebody's going to want to convert a theme that looks like this from handlebars or from a mustache template or whatever.
Jekyll or some shit.
Jekyll. Yeah, that's another one. I use Jekyll as a demo conversion all the time. So, I had to support a lot of flexibility in the options.
Yep.
That added a bunch more complexity. And, every time I poke at something, it feels like, I can't just do the superficial thing. Um,
Yeah. Yep.
like FTP is a great example where I could do the superficial thing. I'll just do one location. I'm just going to do SFTP, and the first version, I'll just do all the files. Better than nothing. And I already had an app that did that, so I just stole it from that old app. Like Joe mentioned in the previous talk, he has a process for building his app and notarizing it and deploying it. And I have that too. I have a little app called Deploy. So yeah, I stole that and the idea for calling it Deploy. Anyway, yeah, sometimes I could do the superficial thing. Sometimes. But other times it was like the PHP server that's built in there. I had to build it and then make sure it supported Intel and M1. And Joe just gave me a bug report that says it needs to be recompiled with these 5 other plugins in it. So again, doing the superficial thing would have been fine for a brand new app. But because people have all these expectations of what
Mm-hmm.
they used to do and what they needed to do for their stack or for their project or for their company, I kind of feel obliged to do the full thing, or at least get close to the whole.
Yep. Sweet. Well, bud, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, and definitely looking forward to tomorrow.
When is the port to Linux? Soon. Um, 4 years ago, when I got the first builds of the new RapidWeaver API that just sent us into a tailspin, I got very fed up and I learned Node, JS, and TypeScript, and I built a full version of the Stacks API with rendering in TypeScript. So, I mean, theoretically, I could start there. But, just like this one, building the full app would take a lot. So, Linux is not soon, but I'm thinking about it. Honestly, I use Linux a lot nowadays, a lot more than I used to.
I see iPad OS first. I know you love iPad OS there, Isaiah.
Not happening. Not unless something really fundamental changes. iPad and iPhone means going through the App Store. That means giving Apple 30%. That means a whole bunch of other limitations. By staying off the App Store, it gives us so much more freedom to do a bunch of other things. So maybe someday I'll go to the App Store. Maybe the App Store will change. Maybe in Europe I could do one of the side app stores. Those have different rules. Who knows? But yeah, I'm not thinking about App Store really for now. VS Code remote. Yeah, maybe. If I get an Electron version, fundamentally it could be ported to. How's the dog? Fundamentally, it could be ported to a web app too. But that has other parts of it because, yeah, I mean, VS Code add-ons are usually open source. There are some that charge subscription fees, but yeah, the business model is very different for those. If I built for a web app, then I would definitely have to charge some sort of subscription fee because you're running a service at that point.
Yep.
That's a whole different other beast. So that's probably not in the cards too soon, but it's not out of the question.
Cool.
All good. Trying to read them as they flash by.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Cool. Well, we can continue this on the Hangout afterwards.
40 extra minutes.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of comments. Um, yeah. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me
My
again.
pleasure.
I'm about to pee myself. That's the kind of response that deserved, damn it. Thank you. Thank you for getting it. That's exactly what you were supposed to do.
Nice. Cool, dude.
All
Take
right.
care. I
See
appreciate
you
it.
tomorrow.
Take care. Bye.